Hi and welcome. I'm Oracle Asherah. This is an angel guided energy reading for the week of February 20th. Okay, so we're going to start. Our first card is guidance. All right. So, connecting with our angels and our spirit guides and ancestors, all they require is our permission and request. Okay, there is a lot of influencing energies that like to play these roles. So we need to have awareness of what we're paying attention to, what we're listening to, and what relationships we're allowing. Okay, so your intentions are important, right? So if we're constantly just owning our thoughts and owning these energies as our own, things can get a bit chaotic. Okay, so the ego likes the story, the ego loves the drama. Okay, so what we need to do is ask ourselves to calm and reduce the ego, right? Learn to experience a neutral space. So there is no story, there is no dialogue, there is no emotion. Okay, so when we're in this neutral space, we're able to witness and have a different experience with ourselves and the situation. So, learning to be neutral and stepping outside of your story, your fears, your concerns, your worries, right? Putting all that down and sitting in a place of neutrality holds space for higher energies and your higher self, yourself, to speak to the self. Okay? So, our angels and spirit guides, they're always with us, around us, and working for us and waiting for us, okay? But they do require our permission, unlike other influencing energies. So, when we learn to be neutral in ourself, we can hear better, we can observe better. So, this is something you might need to practice. Right, so our angels are there for support. They are of a loving energy and frequency. So learning to hold that space for yourself and observe in this space is going to be important. Okay. Inspiration. So this is ideas, spark, conception, and impulse. Right. So things that inspire us is often silent energy. Okay, so it's not influencing thoughts, but it's something that comes from within. So that's where the spark is talking about. Something that inspires us to think and create. That's strange. That's the next card. So, and that is your godly ability, right? To create and destroy is what we do. So, destruction isn't always bad. Okay, sometimes we need to be destructive of our patterns, our habits, things that are causing our self-harm or self-sabotage. So we need to parent the self. We need to have awareness within the self. We need to be destructive of these habits and take control and power back. Okay? Okay, so our first card is boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? All right, so this is talking about our relationships, our work environments, our social life, our social circles, family, friends, it doesn't matter. So, whatever is causing you stress, you need to ask yourself, is this necessary? What is it I'm not paying attention to? Is this something I'm doing to myself? Right? So, when we ask ourselves these better questions, We can be more accountable for our experience in ourselves, our world, and our relationships. So boundaries are necessary in order for us to hold space for peace. Okay, so sometimes we need to take a break. Okay, so sometimes we need to take a step back so we can observe truth. We can observe what's going on. We can observe what is our own responsibility and fault and what is influencing and causing us to have stress in our life and world. So when we decide what things are necessary, what things we are tolerating, we can make better decisions around that. Okay, so having the ability to say no, which was this card, okay, is important. It's important to say no to situations, people, right? That's holding space for yourself, your experience. Okay, so this card reads no, wait, postpone, pause, say no. So really practice the no. Okay, that might be necessary this week to reserve your space, your time, your energy. Okay, if it's not something you want to do, say no. If it's not something that's going to benefit you in some way, say no. If it is stressful and taxing on you and your energy and your peace, say no. Okay. Break the chain. So this is ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. All right. So sometimes our choices and our relationships, our future does get written into some kind of karmic lesson or experience. Okay. So when we have the power of choice in each moment and create better boundaries, we can change those lessons, right? That is the power of being present and aware. As I talked earlier, being neutral, learning to be neutral and observing the situation, you can make better choices. So when you're acting out of anger, your wounds, flags, you're responding, but that might not necessarily be the best. Okay, so instead of responding, take a moment and choose, make better choices. That no card is coming in there. Okay. Healing. Okay, we'll back to this take a break and healing. So when we take time for ourselves, we allow peace in our home, in our bodies, right? We're now holding space for a better day, a better energy, and a better you. So when you have more of that in your day, your week, your month, your year, you're more protective of your space and your time and your energy. All right, unbound. So this is releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. Okay, so this is again talking about karmas and lessons. Quite often we keep repeating lessons in different forms and different people, but it's always the same. So we have to evaluate, what is the lesson? What is it I'm not making a change in, right? So change allows us to break cycles, right? So I'm not inviting this energy. Why do we keep attracting this energy? Because usually there's something unhealed in the self, right? So look at your triggers. Look at the repeat in these relationships and stories. What can you pick out for yourself? What can you figure out, right? What's the theme? What's the energy? Okay, these are the questions you want to ask yourself. And when you can start diagnosing or pinpointing these things, then you can start reflecting in the self. What is the lesson? What is it I need to heal? So when we change that frequency in ourselves, we change what we attract. Okay, so we have full power and control of our karma this way. Okay, a lot of things are unnecessary, but it is necessary because you haven't shifted. Okay. Okay. universe. All right, so we are, I like to talk about the cosmic song. Okay, so all the planets and all the energies are there to inspire us. So when we're detached, we're going to feel lonely, we're going to feel sad and depressed. So it's important for us to really allow us to navigate from our soul. Okay, we're not influenced necessarily by our astrology signs. Okay, a lot of people will tell themselves, well, that's just the way I am, I'm this sign, right? So now this is enabling something. Instead, have the perspective of these are things for me to master rather than be allowed to be an asshole or whatever, however the story fits for you. Okay? I'm not going to get too deep into that. We have solitude. All right. So again, this is asking you to take time to heal, learn, experience yourself. So in solitude, find something you like to do. Make something that makes you happy. So focus on your health, your mental health, your spiritual health, and reconnect with things that you like to do and make you happy, right? It doesn't involve other people. It doesn't involve other places, right? This is all about you. You need to focus on yourself. Find something that makes you happy again. Bring back some creative energies. Yeah. Okay. All right. Positive movement forward. Okay. So that takes a decision and choice. You have to choose to be happy. You have to choose and be responsible for your journey. Okay. You are 100% responsible for yourself and your experience in this life, right? The world isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. So if you're constantly, why is this happening to me? It's because we're not dancing with this cosmic song, right? Our angels, spirit guides are all trying to help us to ourself. Okay, so this time for solitude is to connect with the self. What makes me happy? What do I want? Journal. I'm trying to think of all the ways you can connect without being too explanatory or too vague, because it's important for you to think for yourself and discover for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to inspire you to find that for yourself. All right, so positive movement forward takes your action from your choice and an awareness. Okay, so journal, plan. What are your dreams? How do you get there? Right? What are you ignoring about yourself? All right, new beginnings. Okay, new beginnings. Quite often we get upset about the chaos that destroys things in our life, but those are just opportunities, right? Things are falling apart for you to rebuild, right? Things that are harming you or toxic for you, not the choices you're supposed to make, relationships you're not supposed to be in because you had the wrong intentions and why you chose these situations or relationships. Okay, so when something's not for you, it's going to fall apart. Don't be that person's shitty, they did all these things to me. They did these things because they weren't for you. You picked them. Okay, so let's get back to you picked this. Okay, it's not it. Yeah, sure, they have a story and it wasn't, you didn't, they were probably evil in your story, but that's because they weren't for you. Doesn't necessarily mean they're evil or bad people, but we're all navigating to our karmas and lessons, so we need to do better jobs picking. And why are we picking? Is it because it's convenient? We're hungry, we're lonely, we're bored, right? So look at your reasons to why we're picking and choosing things, because if you're not picking things that are in alignment, they're always going to fall apart, and it's not always outside fault. Okay, so you got to look at the point of choice, because that's the point of power for you. Okay. Okay. This card did come out. I'm going to talk about it. So it reads moving on. Okay, having grace for moving on from things that are not for you. You don't need to fight back, destroy, or explain yourself. Okay, some things are none of anyone else's business. You're not going to heal them or change the story by oversharing, talking, or explaining. Just move on. Moving on is important. And it's important to learn to do it gracefully and loving. Okay, we don't need to destroy everything to the ground, right? If you need to destroy something to the ground so you don't go back to it, that is so toxic and harmful for you. That is bad karma, and it's just going to attract more lessons for yourself, okay? Because that's just not good energy. That's not respectful. That's not honorable. That's nothing to do with having integrity or being a loving person. Right? So if you want different in your life, be different. Okay. Willpower. So hard to have willpower sometimes. I have really strong willpower. I make a decision, bam, it's done. Some people really struggle with the what ifs, not being able to move on from things, so we keep hanging on and clinging on because it gives us some false security. Be brave. Cut the cord. Move on. Make choices. Be brave in your choices. Be convicted in your choices and your actions, because if you're half-assed, you're not going to get the full wingspan, the full experience, and the full honor and pride you get from owning things. Okay, so if you're always too careful, too safe, you're not going to experience your power. Okay. Okay. Empowerment. Okay. All right. So, empowerment. We have some funny ideas of what empowerment is these days. I'm not looking to berate or insult anybody, but we need to look at what choices are we making in the idea of this is self-empowering. Is it? I'm going to say a lot of it is no, right? We're enabling certain things in society because we're decorating it as empowerment. What is true empowerment? True empowerment is living your truth, speaking your truth, and loving within your being and soul. Okay, that's when you're going to be in alignment and experiencing empowerment. Okay, so if there is toxicity, a lot of lessons still coming up with your choices, it's because that is not true empowerment. That's not true alignment. Okay. If using people or using yourself for gain in some way, that's not empowerment. It's just not. Okay. Healing. So, with what we're just discussing here, understanding our beliefs and why we're doing things is going to allow us to create change, which allows healing. Okay, so if we don't understand why our frequency is always a low vibration, or why are we having such low vibrational experiences, it's because of our beliefs, and our beliefs lead into our choices. So we need to really evaluate our beliefs, our belief systems, that inner dialogue, the wounds and things we're not addressing, that it creates our frequency. Okay. Okay, so quite often we have burdens. All right, I'm going to talk about the ant. The ant works hard, right? It builds its home, harvests, and it survives its winter. Okay, so if we're not planning, we are going to be in a state of needing. All right, so you need to understand your needs, wants, and desires. Master the self around these things, not be needing these things that make us feel weak or alone or vulnerable. Okay, so how do we stop that? Planning, being aware of our needs. Obviously, we need food, air, and water, right? So we have to, work, buy groceries, plan meal prep, all these things. But if we don't plan, don't go to work, then we're constantly needing, and then we're needing to use people or situations to gain things. Okay, so this is a vicious circle and cycle. If you can read the energy in that and apply that to a situation for yourself, awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, energies that burden us. Okay, so if we give energy to our fears will rule you. Okay, so negative thoughts, we respond, then we give it life, and those things are now going to rule your decisions and how you view. Right, so we need to be aware of the self, the soul, the loving part of the self, and be aware that these energies are trying to influence you to I can't find my right word. Right. So when we're burdened with our thoughts and feelings, they start driving how we live and respond and react in the world. Okay, so we need to forgive, lighten the load, heal, and come back to a neutral space, right? Forgive the self, forgive the trauma doers, okay? Have grace in moving on and creating better boundaries. And then we're going to start experiencing things a little differently, right? So when we take more responsibility in our experience, you're going to change this energy. Yes, there are heavy burdens in this life that we can't escape, right? There's always death, loss, pain, suffering, right? But allowing those things to become a strength rather than a weakness, right? Didn't know how strong I was until I had to find out, right? You don't always have a choice, but you have to be brave, you have to be strong, you have to be accountable, regardless. It's not your fault, but you still have to be accountable and responsible. Okay. All right, creative energy. Creatives come up here, I think, twice now. So learning to be creative. Creative energy is your solar plex. This energy connects you to yourself, to spirit, to the world. Your ability to have compassion and understanding, to relate. So find a way of expressing yourself, right? Whether that could be artistically, through exercise, through communication, singing, finding things that make you happy in your day for yourself. Okay. All right, we have omens. Okay, so spirit will always have messages in life. Anything that's alive is connected to spirit, right? So when we connect to nature, we connect to ourselves, we are connecting to the cosmic energy, the cosmic song. There's a lot of influence in this world that we are so detached and we forget. Okay, so spend some time maybe not on your phone, turning it off from your devices or gaming systems or whatever it is that has us distracted. We need to really put those down and have more consistent time for the self, right? Go outside just as often as you sit on your phone. That doesn't mean taking your phone with you, right? Put it down, right? Parent the self, parent yourself, parent your time, okay? Have some discipline. All right, this is a nice card to finish with. It's all good. Okay, this is a reminder that everything is perfect. Everything, even the lessons, even the loss, even these harsh moments, okay? They all shape and move. So when we learn to move better with grace and with integrity and honor and from a loving space, nothing is wrong, okay? All right. Oh, we're going to do one more card. We're going to ask our angels for an angel card. Oh. Hi, George. Okay. All right. We have Archangel Raphael. The healing angel is with you, supporting you in your healing work. Okay. So again, as we opened, the message was to ask for permission to work with your angels. Okay. So when you sit in solitude, pray, right? Ask, wait, receive. The waiting part is the hardest part because we're always impatient. We're always seeking and sowing things to make sense. But I'm advising you to pray, ask. The wait is the witnessing part, right? And then you'll receive the guidance, the omen, the answer, the peace. Okay? All right. Blessings, everyone. Have a great week.